Here's another weird take. PC controls, keyboard controls. I've never really liked them that much. I was never really a fan of them. I never liked using them to play games, PC games. You know, when you play a game on PC with PC controls, keyboard controls, it's always just been so, you know, difficult and kind of frustrating for me. Because basically you know, you gotta angle your left hand on the control, on the, the keys. You gotta basically do this, so you can hit all the keys, And first you have to set up the key bindings to that general area. Because if you don't, you constantly would have to switch to like a key that's clear over there and constantly go back and forth, and that would be difficult. But once you set up the key bindings and everything to like one singular area, around where WSD, whatever that is, or WSD or whatever it's called, around that area. Once you set them up all the key bindings in that similar area, so it's kind of easier to do, you basically just you still have to be cramped up, hand cramped up, your fingers cramped up in one spot, and eventually your fucking finger that you use for the W key fucking constantly have to hit it and hit shift at the same time to run, because that's for some reason how it is in every PC game. And you have to constantly hit that, and your fingers cramp up, and your fingers get tired of fucking hitting this same button constantly, or same two buttons constantly, or holding the same two buttons constantly, and it's just like, yeah, it's just a lot of strain on your fingers and your hand, your left hand. While your right hand is holding the mouse, and you gotta make sure you have that level to some level, so it's not like moving all over the place, so you can like aim stuff depending on what game you play, and gotta make sure it's not inverted or anything, or and basically it's kind of like this, holding a mouse and holding a fucking thing down to your keyboard, and you just constantly straining your fingers, and it's just not very fun. It's hard, at least for me. I always found it kind of hard and difficult to play that way. I never liked it. Playing a PC game with PC controls and keyboard controls, I never liked it. I always preferred plugging in a controller, a PC gaming controller like this, something like that. And then, playing a PC game that way. It always was easier. Basically you would have to, of course, set up your bindings and everything, but that's pretty easy. Because you would just set it up how you would actually play the game on console, Because usually it's a game, usually the PC games you would play, with either, PC keyboard controls or controller controls, gaming controller controls, whatever you want to call it. Usually the games you would play, exist for both PC and console. So basically you would just set it up, as you would, so you could basically play it the same way you would play it on console, same button, same alignment, everything. And it's so much easier, You don't have to strain your fucking fingers. It's pretty easy to figure out. Pretty easy to play. There's less fucking things you have to fucking set up. And yeah, it's way easier playing PC games with a controller. At least for me. I've always found it easier. Now, there is some games where there's exceptions to that, where PC and keyboard controls are better. Like for instance, Minecraft. That's one game that I prefer to play with, PC and keyboard controls because it's easier. It's simpler and easier that way. And yeah, it's but that's like only one rare game, at least for me. I mean, there's probably others, but I can't really think of right now. But there's probably others that where PC keyboard controls are better and preferable. But yeah, usually I just playing with controller, as long as it's supported. There's like some games that they don't even have controller support. Some PC games don't have controller support, and I end up having to just suffer through fucking PC controls and everything again. But yeah, and I guess this all stems from what I got used to. Growing up, all I ever did was play games with a controller. You know, games on my PS1 and my PS2 and eventually PS3 and PS4. I was always just playing with a controller, and it was easier, and it's what I got used to. Don't get me wrong, I still played some PC games growing up, like classic Doom and stuff like that. I did play some, but not a lot. I played way more console games, with a controller. And it's just what I got used to. It's what I prefer to play games with. And it's way easier for me, and yeah. Now, I don't know if anyone else, has this kind of take or whatever, or preference, or whatever you want to call it. There probably is people out there like that, the same as me, who prefer to play PC games with a controller. But yeah, and that's about it. Just wanted to, rant and ramble about this, and yeah.